A poor young girl is forced to live in a rent house by her stepmother for what's supposed to be just 1 month. But as the days go by, she begins to notice something terrifying. Time seems to move differently inside the house. A month becomes years. If you're already hooked, don't forget to share this video with someone who loves a good mystery and subscribe for more mind-bending stories. Anna was a poor girl from a small village called Ndalama, deep in Africa. Her life had never been easy, especially after her mother passed away. Her stepmother didn't like her much, always pushing her around, treating her like she was a problem. One day, without warning, her stepmother said, "You have to leave. Go live on your own in the city for a month. You don't belong here anymore." Anna was scared but had no choice. She packed the little she owned and traveled to the big city, far from everything she knew. The city was loud and strange, filled with people rushing everywhere. The house she rented was cheap, suspiciously cheap, but Anna had no money to look for anything better. The landlord, a serious man named Muller, handed her the keys without much talk. The house was old, with creaky floors and dust everywhere. Anna felt lonely and cold the first night. As she tried to settle in, she noticed something strange. The windows would suddenly slam shut on their own, and at times it felt like the house was breathing, alive somehow. One evening, Anna was cleaning the dusty room when she found an old piece of cloth on a shelf. She threw it away, hoping it was just junk. But the next day, the cloth was back, exactly where she had found it. Weird things like that started happening more often. She began to feel tired all the time. Her skin looked dull, and little wrinkles appeared around her eyes. At just 25 years old, Anna worked hard to make the place livable. She cleaned the floors, painted the walls, and threw out all the broken furniture. But every time she left the house and came back, everything was back to its dusty, dirty state, as if someone else had been there undoing her work. It wasn't just the house changing. Anna herself started feeling strange. Her energy drained quickly, and she noticed dark circles and wrinkles forming on her face. At first, she thought she was just tired from the move, but the changes felt too fast, too real. When she complained to Muller, he shrugged and told her to be patient. "This house, it's different," he said, almost like he was warning her. Anna started to panic, but didn't know where to turn. One night, she looked in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. Her skin was sagging, her eyes looked older, and her body felt weak. She was terrified but had to keep going. Her stepmother had sent her here, and she had no other place to go. One afternoon, Anna went back to Muller demanding answers. That's when he showed her the lease agreement again, but there was a tiny clause she had missed, written so small she needed a magnifying glass to read it. It said she couldn't leave the house until a new tenant arrived. If she did, something bad would happen. Anna laughed it off at first, thinking it was a joke. But soon, she realized it wasn't. She tried to leave, even went to a clinic to get a medical checkup to prove something was wrong. The doctor looked at her and said she was perfectly healthy for her age, even though Anna's face and body said otherwise. When she showed her ID to prove who she was, the information was gone. Her name, her age, everything wiped clean. At a hotel, she had to pay extra because the receptionist said she didn't have a valid ID. Anna was trapped in a nightmare. The house was stealing her life away. Day by day, days passed, and Anna's condition worsened. Within weeks, she looked like an old woman, her body frail and bent. She tried to fight back, even lighting matches to burn the house down. But the house fought back. A choking smoke filled the room, almost like the building itself was alive and angry. Muller saved her just in time, pulling her away from the flames. He explained the apartment's dark history. It had been cursed for decades, always needing a tenant inside. Past tenants had aged rapidly, turning into old people within days, and no one had ever escaped. There was even a story about a government minister who tried to destroy the house, but was found dead before he could. The apartment didn't want outsiders meddling with its curse. Anna had no choice but to accept the strange friendship the house offered. It started preparing meals for her, strange but kind gestures in a twisted way. She was too weak to cook or clean properly, so the apartment became her only company. Her body became almost unrecognizable. When she peeled her skin, she found wires and strange things inside her. Muller told her the only way to survive was to find someone else to take her place, to trap another tenant in the curse. Her ex-boyfriend Daniel showed up one day with his new girlfriend, looking for a place to live. Anna had a chance to save herself by trapping them in the apartment. But despite everything, she couldn't do it. Her love for Daniel was stronger than her fear. She let them go. Anna was born in a small village called Ndalama, deep inside Africa. It was one of those places where everybody knows everybody, and life moved slowly. The sun rose and set like clockwork, and people helped each other survive. But Anna's life was tough from the start. After her mother died when she was just a kid, her stepmother came into her life, and things got worse. Her stepmother never liked Anna. She always found reasons to blame her, to make her feel like she was nothing but a burden. The day Anna turned 25, her stepmother called her into the small kitchen, her face cold as stone. "You need to leave this house. Go find your own place in the city," she said without any softness. Anna was shocked. "But where will I go? I have nowhere." Her stepmother's eyes hardened. "For 1 month, just 1 month. You don't belong here anymore." Anna packed a small bag, clutching her mother's old necklace tightly. She didn't know much about city life, but she had no choice. She took the bus for hours, the city growing bigger and louder outside the window, until she was swallowed by concrete buildings and endless streets. The place she rented was a cheap apartment on the outskirts. The rent was so low, it almost felt like a trap. The landlord, a man named Muller, was strange. He gave her keys with a tight smile and didn't say much. The apartment itself was old, with peeling wallpaper, creaky floors, and a thick layer of dust on everything. That first night, Anna lay awake, listening to sounds. The wind rattled the windows like whispers from ghosts. She tried to shake off the feeling of cold loneliness, but it clung to her. A few nights later, she heard a loud crash. She ran to the window and saw an old woman lying on the pavement below, motionless. No one helped. Anna shivered and pulled the curtains shut quickly, her heart pounding. That was the apartment's first horror moment, a sign of what was to come. The next day, Anna met her neighbor, a very old lady who smiled strangely at her. "This house takes what it wants," she said quietly, before hurrying away. Anna thought she was just a lonely old woman, but the look in her eyes told a different story. Soon, Anna noticed little things that weren't right. Every morning, the apartment looked worse than the day before. Furniture seemed to move. Dust covered the floor no matter how much she cleaned, and the air felt heavy. Most worryingly, Anna felt her body change. Her skin lost its glow. Tiny wrinkles appeared around her eyes. She was 25, but she looked much older already. "Maybe I am just tired," she told herself. But deep down, she knew something was terribly wrong. Anna woke up one morning feeling heavier than usual. Her joints ached, and the mirror didn't lie. The little wrinkles around her eyes had deepened overnight. She blinked hard, trying to convince herself it was just tiredness. But something in her gut told her otherwise. Determined not to give up, Anna decided to clean and fix the apartment. She wanted to make it feel like home, even if just for a month. She scrubbed floors, wiped windows, and even painted the walls with the leftover paint she found hidden in a corner. She hummed quietly to herself, trying to push away the creeping fear. But when she woke up the next morning, the apartment looked exactly the same as before. The walls had peeled back to their old, faded yellow. The dust was back like a thick blanket, and the furniture was in the same old place, covered in grime. It was like her work had been erased by invisible hands. Anna's heart sank. She stood in the middle of the room, staring at the peeling wallpaper as if it were mocking her efforts. She reached out to touch the wall, half expecting it to feel real, but instead, it was cold and brittle under her fingers. And then the worst part started. She felt her skin tightening, as if invisible threads were pulling it taut. Fatigue crashed over her like a wave. Her hands trembled when she tried to hold her cup of tea. The wrinkles weren't just around her eyes anymore. They were spreading, marking her face and neck like a map of a lifetime she hadn't lived. "What is happening to me?" Anna whispered, panic creeping into her voice. She reached for her phone to call Muller, the landlord, but her hands were shaking so badly. She dropped it. The screen cracked, but that seemed small compared to the terror building inside her. When she finally got through to him, Muller's voice was cold but oddly calm. "You should not fight it," he said softly. "The apartment doesn't like to be disturbed." "What do you mean?" Anna asked, voice breaking. "There is something about this place," Muller said. "It feeds on its tenants, Anna. Slowly, day by day." Anna felt a chill run down her spine. "Feeds? What do you mean, feeds?" "That sounds crazy." "I'm not lying," Muller said. "You need to be careful. And don't try to leave." Anna swallowed hard, her mind racing. Was she going crazy? Or was this really happening? She looked at her hands again, the skin looking fragile and dry like old parchment. The woman she saw in the mirror was no longer the young girl who had left her village just days ago. This apartment was changing her, feeding on her youth, her strength. The thought hit her like a blow. What if she was trapped here forever? Anna sat at the small kitchen table, her hands trembling as she clutched the lease paper Muller had handed her when she moved in. She had signed it without reading the fine print. Too excited to finally have a place of her own, even if it was just for a month. Now, that decision felt like a trap tightening around her neck. She called Muller again, demanding answers. This time, his voice was less calm, almost sad. "There's something you need to know about that lease," he said slowly. "There's a clause. It's hidden deep inside, something no one ever notices until it's too late." Anna's heart pounded. "What clause? What does it say?" Muller hesitated, then explained. "If you stay beyond a certain time, the apartment claims a part of you. Your time, your youth, your life. It's like a deal with a shadow. You give your years to the apartment, and it lets you live here, but only for a while." Anna felt cold all over. "That's insane. I didn't sign up for this. I need to get out of here." She packed a small bag, her movements slower than they should have been, like she was carrying invisible weights. As she reached the door, she felt a sudden sharp pain in her chest, like the apartment was pulling her back. Her legs wobbled, and she fell to the floor. Tears blurred her vision as she realized she wasn't just tired. She was weakening, determined. She tried to run out again the next day, but the door slammed shut before she could open it, locked tight, without explanation. Anna screamed, pounding on the door. "Let me out, please." No answer. Days passed, or maybe weeks. Time was confusing now. Her ID card, her papers, even her reflection started to fade. It was like the apartment was erasing her existence from the world. One day, she tried to show her ID to the local doctor when she went for a checkup, hoping someone would believe her. The doctor looked confused. "Anna, this ID, it's blank. There's no name, no birth date. It's as if you don't exist." Anna's heart shattered. How could she prove who she was if even her identity was disappearing? She felt like she was slipping away, not just in age, but in everything that made her Anna. Anna woke up one morning feeling like she had been hit by a truck. Her bones ached. Her skin was tight and dry. And when she looked in the mirror, she barely recognized the face staring back at her. The bright young woman who had moved and was gone. Instead, she saw wrinkles, gray hair, and tired eyes, an old woman staring back. It felt like she had suddenly aged decades overnight. Desperate, she tried to burn the apartment down, thinking as she destroyed it, maybe the curse would break. She grabbed a bottle of whiskey and poured it over the furniture, the curtains, anything she could reach. But when she struck a match, the flames refused to catch. It was like the apartment itself was alive, fighting back. Suddenly, she felt a choking grip around her throat. She gasped for air, falling to the floor as darkness crept in. Before she passed out, Muller appeared. He dragged her away from the choking air and helped her sit up. He pulled the piece of cloth from her mouth, the same rag she had found earlier, the one that seemed to reappear no matter how many times she threw it away. Muller's face was grave. This place has been here for decades. Every tenant who signs a lease suffers the same fate, aging fast until they die. The apartment won't let itself be empty. He told her stories about past tenants, young girls who became old women in days, a government minister who tried to tear the place down and was found dead before he could start. No one dared mess with the apartment anymore. It was a secret too dark for the outside world. Anna watched Daniel and his new girlfriend walk into the apartment, smiling at the cheap rent and the quiet neighborhood. Her heart sank. She remembered the good times she had shared with Daniel, the dreams they once had. But now, she knew that if they signed the lease, it would be the start of their nightmare, the same nightmare she was living. She stood there, torn. Her mind screamed at her to protect herself, to save her own life by trapping them inside. But her heart held back, full of old love and pain. Finally, when Daniel reached the pen to sign the contract, Anna's voice broke the silence. "Stop. Don't sign it." Daniel turned around, shocked to see the old woman who looked nothing like the girl he used to know. "This place is cursed. It ages you, eats away your life," Anna said, her voice trembling. "I was once your age, but look at me now." The couple exchanged confused glances, but something in Anna's eyes stopped them. Slowly, they stepped back and left without signing anything. Anna felt relief and sadness all at once. She had saved them, but she also knew that meant she was trapped forever. Now alone again, Anna sat on the couch, the same couch that had swallowed so many before her. She felt the weight of years pressing down on her, her body aching and fragile. But in that moment, a strange peace washed over her. She looked out the window, feeling the breeze for the first time in a long while. The apartment, as cruel as it was, had become her only home. "I hope you're gentle with me," she whispered to the empty room. As the sun set, Anna closed her eyes, and slowly her breathing stopped. Her head sank into the couch, becoming one with it. The apartment claimed her, just like it had done before, ready to wait for the next poor soul who walked through its door. That's how Anna's story ends. A tragic reminder how some places are more than just buildings. They hold secrets, traps, and darkness that no one should ever face.